All right, let me start by introducing myself. For those of you who don't know me personally, my name is Melissa Collins, and I wrote a book called Relentless Strategic Planning, and that is why I'm doing this event this evening. This is a completely free event. There's nothing to purchase here. This is simply me giving knowledge back that I think is valuable and important for people to hear and think about. And oftentimes people ask me what my credentials are. So I'm just going to tell you that my credentials are my story. And your credentials for whatever you want to do is your life story too. We all have credentials. So this whole process has come about over a period of time. For about 20 years, I've used this process to teach corporations, my own personal businesses, how to strategically plan for business specifically. About 10 years ago, I got divorced, and I was living in a marriage. I was married to a man. I don't know if all of you know that. I am a gay woman, so that's a little outside of what I should have been doing. And I was in that marriage for 12 years, and I was incredibly unhappy. From the outside looking in, though, we had a beautiful house, we had a happy marriage, we had happy kids. It looked like the perfect family. And there's a lot of people living that way, where from the outside looking in, things look perfect, and they're just not. And I spent a lot of time and a lot of money filling that happiness void with things. I spent a lot of time, and I was letting life, I was like on autopilot, doing what everybody said I should do. You should go to college, you should get married to a man, you should have kids, you should buy a big house, you should have things. And I was on this weird autopilot paradigm, that the American dream that I thought was what you were supposed to want and what you were supposed to do. And then one day I freaked out. Freaked out, like veered off the highway, freaked out, jumped over a median to get to my mother's house, hysterically crying. And it was the day that it was over. It was done. I couldn't fake it anymore. I couldn't fake it till I make it anymore. I couldn't pretend to be happy anymore. I wasn't happy. And then I went through a transitional phase where for 12 years I had been someone's wife and other people's mother. And I had zero identity of my own. And I was in this weird phase. We were co-parenting. And so we did 4 and 4. And I know there's only 7 days in a week, but we rotated 4 and 4. And on the 4 days I had my children, I was their mother and I did all the mom things. And the 4 days I didn't have them, there were months that went by that for those 4 days I laid in my bed and didn't get out, because I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know how to be. And I didn't know how to be happy. And this went on for a really long time. And one day I was working on a strategic plan for my business, and it struck me that this is actually the way I should be planning my life. And that was about, I would say about 8 years ago. And I can tell you that, my credentials are, I can unequivocally tell you that I live a very, in my terms, perfect life. I have designed a life that is exactly perfect for me. I wake up every day ridiculously happy. When I got out of that marriage, I had over $120,000 of consumer debt. I was broke. I was scared. I was unhappy. I was miserable. And this process that I'm going to teach you is what moved me from that place of autopilot, and there are people actually on this call that knew me back then and probably are maybe a little shocked by this story, but it's true. I was incredibly unhappy, and I'm not sure, that's not really something we post on Facebook, is it? That's not really something we tell people. So just a little lesson here. Remember, when you're wasting your time comparing your life with other people's, I promise you, you have no idea what their whole story is, because nobody really tells you. Okay, so really focus on yourself. It's really just all that matters. At the end of the day, you have you that you're responsible for. You are responsible for your own happiness. And when I started creating this system of how to systematically create a happy life that I actually wanted to live, I realized that everything was in my control. That I actually, in fact, had control of everything. And then I had a panic attack because that's a big responsibility. What do you mean? I can't blame my parents and society and this person and that person. I can't blame my ex-husband. I can't blame my kids. I'm actually responsible for every single thing that happens. And so first, that was a little bit of a panic attack when I realized it. And second, it was incredibly empowering because if I'm in control of it, I can change it. And you can too. If there are things in your life that are not making you blissfully happy, you are allowed to change them. So I now live a very, very different life. Again, for those of you who know me, you know that my wife and I travel full time. We live nowhere, which is awesome during not a pandemic and interesting during a pandemic, but it was great. I mean, we were able to pick up and say, if we're going to be quarantined, we're going to do it with a pool on the water. I'm not doing it in New Hampshire. We were in New Hampshire when this all started. We packed up quick and got out of Dodge. We're in Venice, Florida now, and we'll be here till the end of August. But it allows us that freedom. We have complete financial, complete time. We have complete freedom. And that did not happen overnight. It was built from this process. So this is why I wanted to share it with the world so badly. So I'm going to share my screen with you, I think, so I can show you, some slides. So Relentless Strategic Planning, that's the name of the book. Why do we need planning now more than ever? And it's funny because I actually built these slides a long time ago, and I revised them a little bit today, but now more than ever during what's going on, we are in a massive time of shifting and changing. Everything is changing right now. And although it seems like there are some things that are really not great, there is a lot of opportunity right now for change. People's paradigms are shifting. People are willing to think outside of the box a little bit, and it's a time of incredible opportunity. This is the time you should be planning what you really want with your life. So many people have figured out during COVID that jobs not super safe. So many people have figured out during COVID that, gee, I really like spending time with my family. Wow, I really value my time freedom. I don't want to go back to giving away 50 hours a week. That made me happy to have dinner with my kids every night, or whatever things you discovered during COVID. So why do we need it now more than ever? I'll give you a little story. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a network marketing professional. And so in that industry, it's really important, if you want your business to continue to propel forward, that you are consistent every day. Well, when we decided to move to Florida from New Hampshire, we literally packed everything we owned really quick within like 10 hours. And then we didn't even think about it. We just got in the car. We didn't even take a nap. We just got in the car, and it took us 3 days to get down here. We had no house until the day before we got down here. And it was a really chaotic time. Everything I owned was in a Jeep and a trailer. Got to a new house, trying to unpack it, trying to figure out where everything is. We're in a shutdown situation in a new town. I don't know anybody. That should have thrown me off my game, but it didn't. I actually had exponential growth in my business in March during that chaotic time because I simply followed my plan. Because I just follow my plan. I don't think. I don't make a lot of decisions outside of this plan. So why strategic planning? It provides us a clear roadmap. Honestly, we can only handle so many inputs at once. Our brains can only handle many inputs at once. Have you ever had the experience where you've been at work all day, you've been making decisions all day, and you come home and someone asks you what you want for dinner, and you're like, I can't make that decision. I'm sorry. I've made 4,500 other decisions today. I'm not deciding between pizza and grinders. I'm not doing it. So it also creates focus and a clear path to our goals. It provides stability and calm when things get crazy, and it makes life really simple. There are so many things probably in your life that you're saying yes to that you should simply be saying no to. I used to be the yes mom. Can you volunteer for the PTO? Yes. Can you do this thing? Yes, yes, yes. Constantly yes to everything. And I wasn't basing my yeses on, does this meet my actual life goals? Does this actually meet my goals? No, I was just like, yes. If somebody asked me to do something, I was the yes woman. So the first thing, and for those of you who have my book and who have read it, there is actually an edit happening tomorrow because I realized I left a chapter out. It will be in your Kindle tomorrow, promise. It's about our mission statement. Guys, a mission statement should be maybe a sentence or two long, but it's the hardest thing to write, and you should take the most time on it. So I went live in the event the other day. If you didn't see it, I am going to go over the questions that I asked. And right now, I would just ask that you write them down. Don't try to answer them, because you really need to take some time with yourself to answer these questions to develop your personal mission statement. What is important to you? Like, what is actually important to you? Not to your family, not to your spouse, not to your dog. What is important to you? Where do you want to go? Spiritually, mentally, and physically. Where do you want to go? What does the best look like for you? When you are answering these questions, you do not need to know the road to get there. You need to answer them for what really it means to you. What does the best look like for you? How do I want people to describe me? So when you're not around, how do you want people to talk about you? How do you want them to describe you? And then what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? So an activity that I gave my team last week, and I'm going to tell you, this is a really powerful activity to do when you're trying to develop your mission statement. And it's time to get brutally, brutally honest with yourself. Guys, no one else is reading this. Stop lying to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Sit down after you answer these questions, and I want you to write your obituary. Creepy, right? But I want you to write it for the truth for right now. If you are someone who quits on everything you do, I want you to write that in your obituary. I quit on everything I really want. If you are some of the things that are going on with you, put them in that obituary and read it to yourself. Are you happy with it? Are you happy with what you're saying about yourself? It's just a really great self-reflection exercise. I know it's morbid. It'll be all right. All right, let's talk about setting goals. Setting goals is the first step to creating a plan. Now, there's 3 areas of life that you need to set goals at, and I would propose that these are the only 3 areas in life that matter. Everything else fits into these 3 goals: your health, your wealth, and your relationships. If you do not have balance in your health, in your finances, and in your interpersonal relationships, you will not be happy. And I can give you dozens of examples of people you would know that had 1 or 2, but not the other. Think of Robin Williams comes to mind. He committed suicide. He had ultimate wealth. I don't know about his interpersonal relationships, but he obviously had some mental health issues going on that weren't in balance or check. Right? You would think that he should be happy. It's so shocking when celebrities commit suicide, right? Because we're like, they're rich. Why would you kill yourself? Because they're not in balance. Guys, it doesn't matter if you have the best body, 6-pack abs, and everybody looks at you when you walk down the beach. If you're dead broke and can't afford to eat, you're not in balance. And if you have the wealth and you're super healthy, but you have no rich interpersonal relationships, it's also really difficult to be happy. Human beings, we need all 3 of these. And I know that a lot of people have weird money stories, like you think wealth shouldn't be one of them. Guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but the world runs on money, and we can't eat or have electricity without it. So we do need it, right? And money is not evil. It's just a piece of paper. It's a tool. More money is only going to make you more of what you already are. So if you're already a really good person, more money is just going to let you do more good things. If you're already kind of a jerk, more money is probably going to make you more of a jerk. So don't be a jerk. Balance is required for happiness. All right. So let's talk about goals, strategies, and tactics. Those are the 3 things that we're going to do tonight, and those are the 3 things that is described in the book. So goals. This is first step. So you want to take 3 sheets of paper, and you want to write health, wealth, and relationships on each paper. Health on one, wealth on another, relationships on the other. On your goals, they need to be measurable. It's okay to be a little unreasonable, and we'll talk about that. And then we need to talk about goal competition. So let's talk about measurable. When you have let's start with health. You have a health goal. You can't just say, I want to weigh less next month. What the hell does that mean? First of all, get better goals. What does that mean? Weigh less. You need a specific, if your goal is weight loss is on my mind because I want to lose 10 pounds. So if your goal is weight loss, I am going to lose 10 pounds by July 25th. That is specific and measurable. On July 25th, you can get on the scale and you can look back and you can black and white say, yes, I did or no, I didn't, right? If you can't answer your goal with a yes or no, it is not specific enough. Now, both ones are fairly easy. Now, if you don't want to lose weight, maybe you want to be able to run a 5K, but even more, get more specific than that. I want to run a 5K in this time frame. I want to run a 5K and not feel like I want to die at the end, or I want my heart rate to be at this level. If you're really into fitness, into weightlifting, I want to be able to bench press 300 pounds by the end of July. Right now, I'm at 250. Really specific and measurable. Let's talk about wealth goals. So with wealth goals, here's a question I wanted to propose to you guys to think about. And can you tell me, let me try and open the chat. It's hard to open when I'm sharing my screen. Let's see. Can you guys tell me in the chat? Can you just put in the chat your job title, what you do for work? Like why is my chat not opening? Where is it? There it is. Teacher, server, teacher, entrepreneur, financial advisor, writer, art teacher. Wow, we have a lot of teachers in here. Money coach, I know what you do, Jake. Teacher, beverage server, general manager. Okay, so let me ask you this question. And some of you, the answer is going to be yes, and some of you, it's going to be no. At your current company, if you become the best, most incredible, insert job title that you can be, will you achieve complete financial freedom? So if you became the best beverage server, the best teacher, the best, would you achieve complete financial freedom? Okay, so I want you to think about that. What does that mean? If the answer is no, then we need to get some multiple streams of income when you're talking under wealth. Do we have safety? Is there safety built into your financial situation, the income that's coming in? Meaning that you have more than one stream of income. I think we all learned at the beginning of March, jobs are not probably the safest, and only a job with one stream of income is not probably the safest thing we could possibly do. I can tell you that the only way to build true wealth is to create leveraged income of some sort. It really is. You know, I obviously I believe this partially because I am, one of the top leaders in a network marketing company. So I love leveraged income. It's how we've become financially free. But there are other ways to have leveraged income. But I'm telling you, you need to find some way to have some leveraged income. But let's talk about your wealth goals. They need to be specific as well. So if you are, why did this move? We already talked about health goals, new fitness goals, nutrition goals, weight management, mental health. Let's not forget about mental health. Can we all remember mental health? Because it's really important. Now more than ever, frankly. If I spend an hour on Facebook, I need a mental health check. I don't know about y'all, but there is a lot of anger on Facebook right now. So wealth goals, you need a number, a specific number. How much money do you want to start making a month and in what time frame? So it depends on, are you making a 30-day plan? Are you making a 6-month plan? Are you making a quarterly plan? Whatever length of this plan is, let's say that it's quarterly. Within the next 3 months, I want to start generating an extra $1,000 a month. You don't have to know at this point how you're going to do it. You don't need to know right now how you're going to do it, but you do need to set a goal. I can tell you this, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that have consumer debt. Consumer debt is the devil. I don't care what anybody says. It is awful. And so many people are buried under consumer debt, paying just the minimums. If you ever want to hear about that, Jake Reed, he's on here. He'd be happy to tell you about consumer debt and how you need to get out of it. But it's really hard when you're buried under debt. I know, I've been there. But what I learned through my journey is focusing on the debt and contraction and saving. Oh, nope, I'm going to buy the red peppers that are 32 cents less and not organic because I have credit card debt. That doesn't make any sense. Contraction doesn't make any sense. It is so much easier to figure out how to earn an extra $1,000 next month than it is to save an extra $1,000. Let me say that again, because I need you to hear it again. It is significantly easier to figure out how to earn an extra $1,000 a month than it is to save $1,000 a month. That is a fact. If you do not have an alternate source of income, it is really important to find one. Really important if your goal is to raise your income. Maybe your goal is to keep it exact. I don't know what your goal is. Everybody's very different. And everybody's version of financial freedom is very different. But I can tell you that you should stretch. You should stretch a little bit. And I'm constantly learning. I am humble to know enough to know that I need to constantly learn. And in May, one of my mentors said, you need to get better goals. You're capable of so much more. I was like, I make a lot of money. I can't push this goal any further. And he said, you need to. And so I set a goal for June that is outrageous. It's an outrageous goal. During a time when my main source, what had been previously my main source of income was my brick and mortar business, is paying me zero, paying me nothing. And I doubled my income goal. I said, I want to make in June, I want to make double what I made in May. And I told my wife, this is what we're going to make in June. And she kind of looked at me and was like, she's used to my crazy stuff. And so she was like, okay, I mean, that sounds fun. And 3 days ago, we hit that goal, and we're probably going to go over it by about 10 grand. I don't know what to tell you, but I do know that when I set goals and I push for them and I set expectations for myself, amazing things happen. But it didn't just come. There's a lot of talk out there about manifesting, and I believe strongly in manifesting. It didn't just come because I wrote it on a whiteboard and prayed on it. It came because I developed a specific plan. So remember that. And then let's talk about relationships. That doesn't just mean husband, wife, 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 husband, husband. It means friendships, spouses, your tribe. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Look, we just stopped talking about wealth. If you have big wealth goals, let's say someone on here said they want to make $10,000 a month. You better be hanging out with the 5 people you spend the most time with that make $15,000 or $20,000 a month. If you hang out with whoever you hang out with, the people you hang around the most with, right? I guarantee you all make around the same amount of money. Get a better tribe. I'm not saying dump your friends. I'm not saying don't hang out with your family. I'm saying minimize the amount of time that you spend emotionally taking and giving from people who aren't where you want to be. If you want to make $200,000 a year, start hanging out with people who make $500,000 a year. If you want to make $500,000 a year, you better start hanging out with 7-figure earners. Because I'm telling you, you will rise to that level. Your tribe matters so much. Let's talk about relationship goals, and I'm going to tell a story about someone who's on here. She's probably going to thank me later. But when Stacey and I moved to Venice, so we have our own personal relationship goals in our relationship, what we want. We set those up every quarterly. We do this every 3 months. And we have friendship goals. So Stacey and I are location independent. We travel full time. It makes it difficult to stay in contact with our friends. And then we had a pandemic where you weren't even allowed to be friends with people or go out. So we sat down with our strategies and we created strategies to make sure that we made new friends in Venice. We joined the 3 local Facebook groups. I started participating in the groups. I started making friends in there. There's a woman on here named Rita and her wife Pedro that we made friends with. She reached out to me and asked if my wife plays softball. I didn't have to ask Stacey if she wanted to play softball because it was already in our plan that we were going to participate in local activities. It was already in our plan. You may not believe this, but both Stacy and I are introverts. We have to force ourselves, but we like being around like-minded people. We like being around other positive, happy couples. So it is always our intention to spend as much time as we can with other happy, positive couples because they enrich our lives and our relationship. It's good for our marriage to be around other happily married people. It's good for us. We know that. So we seek them out and we intentionally make friends with them. So Rita invited me to a party on Memorial Day, and we didn't know anybody. Actually, there's other people on here that were at that party that I'm friends with now. And before we went to the party, we were both like, I don't want to go. But here's the thing. It was one of the agreements that we made in our plan that if we got invited to do something locally, that we would go and do it no matter what, because we know that we need to form new relationships in this area. We need to have a tribe where we are. And we do that in every new location we go to, even if we're there for just a few weeks. You know, we try really hard. So we have very specific tactics. And Rita thinks she found me, but really, Rita, you were part of our plan. All right, so let's talk about strategies. Strategies. So once you have your goals set, then we need to make strategies. There's 3 levels to this plan. Strategies are overreaching ideas. Okay, so let's say that, let's just make something up here. Let's say that you said that you wanted to lose 10 pounds by July 31st. So some of your strategies might sound like, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to move my body, I'm going to drink plenty of water. Okay, let's say that was your 3 things. Those are not very specific, but they're kind of overreaching goals. So for wealth, maybe your strategy is, I want to increase my income by $1,000 a month starting in July. Okay, so if you already have a side gig or a second source of income, well, what do you need to do? What are your, maybe I need to get more committed to that. Maybe I need to show up to team meetings. If you only have a job that pays you an hourly or a salary rate, it is impossible for you to raise your income. So what are you going to do? Are you going to start an Etsy shop? Are you going to sew masks and sell them on Facebook Marketplace? Are you going to rip your TV off the wall and sell it? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to sell stuff? Are you going to join a network marketing company? Are you going to start your own business? Like, what are you going to do? Overreaching ideas. And then relationships. So on ours, it says we're going to make new friends in Venice. And we're going to have 1 date night a week. And we're going to have intentional Zoom meetings with our friends from back home so we stay connected with them. All right, so here's the meat and potatoes of your plan. Creating tactics. They must be clear steps. So let's go back to losing 10 pounds by July 31st. Okay, and we said, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to move my body, and I'm going to drink more water. Now it's time for the nitty-gritty, day-to-day tactics. What am I actually going to do? Okay, so I'm going to drink more water. Well, so I'm just going to give you my strategies. One of my strategies was, I hate water. Let's just put that out there. I don't know if anybody else hates water, but I freaking hate water. So that's actually really hard for me. So I know that I need 64 ounces of water a day. So I went and bought a 32-ounce refillable water bottle from TJ Maxx. And I can't do this. I know myself enough to know that I'm not going to do it with cups of water. So I fill that thing up twice. I know I have to drink 2 of them a day. So it helps me. That's my tactic. So drink 2 of the water bottles a day. I also put a water drinking app on my phone so I can check in with myself. And then let's talk about moving my body. So moving my body more. I am going to ride to Shamrock Park. We have a park down here. I'm going to ride to Shamrock Park 3 days a week. I'm going to swim in the pool. I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to a yoga class on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Very specific. I can look back on that tactic on Friday and say, did I or did I not go to the yoga class I said I was going to go to on Tuesday at 9 a.m.? No, I didn't. Okay, so I'm specifically talking about what I'm going to do. They need to be very clear. They need to be measurable at a daily level. They need to be quantifiable. And they have to be something you're willing to do. I promise you that under my 10-pound goal tactics, nowhere does it say go for a run. I hate running, and unless an alligator is chasing me, I am never running. It makes me angry. I don't like running. So why would I write it down? I'm not going to do it. If you hate Pilates, would detest it, don't write Pilates down as a movement tactic for you. That makes no sense. Back in the beginning, I had talked about goal competition. This is a great time to bring it up. Goal competition is this. If you have a relationship goal for you and your spouse that you're going to start going on 2 all-inclusive vacations every month, all-inclusive, anyone's ever been on all-inclusive vacation? You eat a lot of food, okay? And then you have another goal of you're going to lose 20 pounds this month. That's goal competition. They're going to compete with each other, those 2 goals. Okay, so it's really important when you're setting up your goals that they synchronize with each other. If for those of you out there who are working a side gig or starting your own business, guys, if you're out there talking about things like I'm going to have $50,000 months and I'm going to crush this business, that doesn't come without sacrifice. You can't also set a relationship goal that you are going to be fully present 100% of the day for your kids and no one's ever going to watch them. Those 2 will not work. So goal competition is a real thing, and it will take you right off the track. Now, here's what is really cool is you can synchronize your tactics. So for example, if I had my movement goal, because I'm going to lose my 10 pounds, and one of the things I'm going to do is ride my bike to Shamrock Park 3 days a week. And our other goal is that Stacy and I want to spend time without our phones, at least an hour a day. I can get her on board and say, we're going to ride together to Shamrock Park. That's an hour a day. And those 2 tactics can synchronize together. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So your tactics, they need to be really clear. So even with friendships, maybe your goal is to make 5 new friends that make over, because I just told you, you need to hang around with people who make more money than you. If you want to make $100,000 a year, you need to hang out with people who make 200. So maybe your goal is next month to make 5 new friends that make $200,000. How are you going to do that? Where are they? Where will you find them? We need to create tactics. Once a day, I'm going to post in an entrepreneurs group. I'm going to ask people if they will meet me on Zoom for a coffee. I am going to, whatever your tactic is, how are you going to build those relationships so that you can have those friends and have that tribe? If your relationship goal is to have less fights with your spouse, right? What are your tactics going to be? It's time to get really brutally honest. You only have control of what you do, guys. You don't have control of what somebody else does, right? Even when Stacy acts like a total jerk and it's 100% her fault, there are things I could have done better, always. Maybe I didn't need to yell at her being a jerk. Maybe I didn't need to throw the plate. No, I don't throw plates. But you know what I'm saying? There's always something I can do better that goes in my plan. But your tactics have got to be, this is the, when I talk to people one-on-one and I create a plan with them, this is the thing that's the hardest for people. So every tactic you write down, it's really important that you go back and look at it and say, is this specific and measurable? Is this a yes or no? Can you look at it and say, yes, can you look at it next week and say, yes, I did do this, or no, I didn't? If you can't, it's not specific enough and you need to drill down to more detail. All right. I love habit stacking. Let's talk about habit stacking. So you're going to take your goals, overreaching strategies, and you're going to develop tactics on those strategies. Okay? It's really important that when you're creating new habits are hard to create. There's some study out there that, like, if you do a thing for 21 days, it becomes a habit. You ever heard that? Like, if you go to the gym for 21 days, it becomes a habit. I think that's true. But I find that habit stacking is really successful. There are things that you already do every day that are just ingrained habits in you. Like, put a yes in the chat box if you brush your teeth every day. Pretty sure, I mean, I hope you do, or we probably can't be friends. Or maybe you get up in the morning and you make a coffee. Do you have a habit of driving to work every day? Do you have a habit of making the bed before you go to work? What are your habits? take some time and write down the things. And I find that if you kind of keep a notebook with you for a couple of days, you'll start writing down, like you can write down what you actually do, because they're so ingrained, those habits, but we just do them and we don't really think deeply about them. But what I'm saying is stack something with it. So I am terrible at taking my vitamins, like I'm terrible at it. So one of my health goals was to take my vitamins every day. So my tactic was to put the vitamins next to the sink where I brush my teeth and attach taking vitamins to brushing teeth. Because I already got to brush my teeth, and I just attach the habits together. Does that make sense? So where can you match these? Where can you match these habits up? And I do weird stuff. Like I have habits. One of the things that I'm big into personal development. I'm a big believer in it. I don't think you can grow without personal development. And I think there's a lot of people, I don't think you'd be on this if you didn't believe that. But I'm not great at finding the time in the day to do it. I'm also a super red personality, super type A. And if I'm not having fun, I want to be working. It's just how I am. So I feel like it's unproductive time. So I have a couple of habits. We have 4 dogs, so we have a very hairy house. So we vacuum almost every day. And if I'm vacuuming, I have headphones in. I've attached that habit to personal development. There's always an Audible book queued up on my phone. Headphones in, I'm listening to my personal development. When I shower, there's a Bluetooth speaker in there. It's attached to showering too. It's odd for me not to shower and have that in the background. Now, showering is a pretty automatic habit, right? Most of us do that kind of automatically. So if you're struggling to get personal development in, what else can I do in the shower? How else can I better utilize that time? The only thing I can do is listen. And the same thing within my car. When I'm driving in my car, I turn on personal development. All right, so that's habit stacking. This is probably the most important thing you can do. Once you develop your plan, and this takes time, you're not going to be able to just whip this out tonight. You shouldn't be able to. If you do, it's not developed enough. So once you develop your plan, it's important to fall deeply in love with the tactics, which is the process, and divorce everything else. Has anybody ever gone to the gym one time and developed amazing muscle tone? No, it came from consistency over time. Okay, so you need to get deeply in love with the process. That's what I'm saying. Don't write down tactics that you don't in fact want to do. You won't do them. So would everybody on here agree? I don't know if this is the healthiest way to lose weight, but if I were to lower my caloric intake, and by the way, this is probably not going to happen, to 1,000 calories a day, and I walked 2 miles a day every day, and let's say those were my 2 tactics, and I drank my 64 ounces of water, would you agree I would lose weight? I mean, it's just basic science. I would lose weight. But do you think I would lose 10 pounds day one? No, I'm not going to lose 10 pounds day one. It's over time. So fall in love with the tactics that you have already deeply thought out to know how to get to your goal. That's your roadmap. And don't measure your success until the date that you said you were going to get there. And when you're let's say that you can't set a goal to lose 100 pounds in July. That's ridiculous. And it's not going to work. You also can't set a goal from going from 0 income to $100,000 a month in July. That's unreasonable. I'm not telling you not to stretch a little bit, but you need to set timelines that make sense so that you can hit goals and then stretch them even further. All right. If you haven't read the book, Eat That Frog, if you're a procrastinator, I love this book. I strongly suggest it. It's a great read. It's a very easy read. It talks about procrastination. Eat That Frog refers to the thing you don't want to do. So when I go to the gym, I don't want to go to the gym. I am not a fan of working out. Not my favorite activity. I know that some people are. It's just not my jam. When I am committed to going to the gym, when that's one of my tactics, I know that's the least favorite thing I'm going to do in the day. I have to do it first and get it out of the way. If you are a network marketer and your least favorite thing to do is reach outs, do them first thing. Do them first. Do the hardest thing first. One of your health goals was to prep food on Sunday for the week, and you just dislike doing it, but you've agreed with yourself you're going to do it first on Sunday. Don't procrastinate it, because it's easy to keep pushing it off. So I encourage you to eat your frog first thing in the morning. And then, you know, whatever your time period is, so maybe you wanted to do this in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Guys, this is an ongoing process. This is not something that ever stops. I will never stop using this planning process. We do it and redo it and redo it and redo it over again. And it has provided me with a life that 8 years ago, I did not think would be realistic. I would have laughed at you if you told me this would be my life. I say to Stacey almost every day, it just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem fair. And she always says, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it just doesn't seem right that we get to have this life. It just doesn't seem fair. It happened because I used this process over and over and over again. And I used it as my roadmap. And I fell deeply in love with the process and the tactics. And I didn't think about 8 years from now. I thought about my time period, my 3 months. Did I hit my goals? I started with, I want to make an extra $500 a month. I want to make an extra this a month. I never thought I would be saying, you know, I consistently make 5-figure months and I'm about to start hitting 6-figure months. I would never, it just wouldn't process to me 8 years ago. You have to start where you are and move from there. So, and then go back and look at what worked and what didn't work. I remember the water thing. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy about the water thing. I can't be the only one that doesn't like drink water. But I was like, my first tactic with drinking more water was, I'm going to buy cases of water, not environmentally friendly, I know. And I'm going to line 10 of them on my desk, and that was my tactic. It didn't work. When I look back on that month, I'm like, I didn't do it. They just annoyed me. And I ended up with water bottles all over my house. It took me saying, that didn't work. I have to find another way. Okay? So if I started a new business and I said, I'm going to make X, Y, Z, or I am going to do something, and it consistently didn't work, I go back and look at my tactics. What am I doing wrong? And what can I do better? I'm always looking at myself. What am I doing wrong and what can I do better? My marriage isn't great right now. That's not true. I'm just theoretically. What am I doing wrong and what can I do better? We don't have enough friends. We're not getting invited to enough activities. We love activities. We're not getting invited to any activities. What am I doing wrong and what can I do better? When we take full and personal responsibility for our life, things start to change. It really is when things start to change. Let me ask you to do one more thing before we go in the chat. I want you to give me your ideal financial situation, but I don't want you to use any numbers. I want you to write your ideal financial situation for your life, but I don't want you to use a number. You can't spell them either. I'll tell you what someone asked me this, a mentor of mine 10 years ago asked me this, and it has stuck with me for a really long time, and I achieved it about 3 years ago. I'll tell you what mine was. Jake said, work optional lifestyle, freedom to choose something new each day, freedom, debt-free and ability to travel, no debt, able to be financially free. So here was mine, be able to quit corporate job, be debt-free, financially free, debt-free with 6-digit savings, set my own schedule. So mine was, I don't know about you guys. Does anybody like paying bills? Is there anyone who's like that really enjoys sitting down paying bills? I hate it. I can't remember my passwords. I'm a highly irresponsible adult, guys. I don't like any of it. It just feels a whole lot like adulting. And so my answer to the question was, I want to be able to sit down on the first of the month, and I want to be able to pay all my bills for the month and not have to have had a paycheck to do it. And just allow the income to come in, and then the first month pay all the bills and never have to worry about it. And that was my personal idea of financially free. It feels really good. I still do that to this day, and my dad yells at me because apparently that's not the right way to pay your bills. You should pay them when they're due, not early. I don't care, because I like knowing until it hits next month, I don't have to worry about paying any bills. I went on for a long time of overdraft fees and late charges because I'm highly irresponsible and I can't remember that whatever bill is due on the 15th. I just want to pay all of them at the beginning of the month. So we also got to a point now where we have two bills. So we have a mortgage and we have health insurance. Oh no, we don't have a mortgage. We have rent. We don't have a mortgage. All right, guys. I hope that was valuable. I hope that helped. If you don't have a copy of the book, you can reach out to me. Most of you have my email address, or you're all connected to me somehow on Facebook. I would love for you to get a copy of the book. And what I want to tell you is a lot of people are personal development junkies. It's not the person that reads the most books that wins. It's the person that reads the right books. And I'm not saying that my book is the right book, but I'm telling you that there are some that are right for you and that should be read. I will tell you that my book is one that should be read over and over and over again. It is not an easy listening book. It's not an easy reading book. It is a manual. And it should be referred back to and read over and over again until it's so rote memory that you just get it. So some books, like Eat That Frog, it should be read over and over and over again. It's not like I read it once and I know it. So make sure we're reading the right books and enough times. I hope you guys all have an amazing night. For those of you on here who are my team, I will see you at 8. One bite at a time. That's right. One bite at a time. Don't eat it all. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me tonight. Again, if you need a copy of the book, let me know. I'll send you the link. Bye.